Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 1000 something 506, 1506. And I talked to someone. Hi, I'm Mike Matthews, broadcasting from Café Anyway, located somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont. I talked to someone yesterday who used to own a comic book shop. He owned it for 24 years. He's not much younger than me. And he told me
Mike's Daily Podcast.
He's taken some time off. He's sold the comic book store, and he said he doesn't listen to
Mike's Daily Podcast.
He doesn't understand podcasts. He said he'd rather listen to music. That's okay as long as you use it to your advantage, listening to songs and singing along and going, hey, I wonder what the people that own comic books stores are doing today. So he is happy guy.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And I am so happy that I don't drink McDonald's coffee. I don't understand
Mike's
people drinking
Daily
that
Podcast.
It's odd to me.
Yeah.
You go to McDonald's, all the food already with the name McDonald's means the food is crap, right? So why are you going to get crap coffee there? I mean, you could walk into a bank and they've always got crap coffee, actually probably better coffee for you than that McDonald's. And I have a McDonald's song right here. It goes a little something like this. Look who just walked in today at Café Anyway. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How you doing?
It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player. Tell you what.
What?
Nothing. I agree with you about McDonald's, but I do like their coffee.
I don't understand. Oh, hey, Nelly. Mike, I brought my horse, Nelly. Hey, have you ever had an Abba-Zaba? Yeah, when I was a kid. Actually, recently I did too. Hey, I know why you brought that up. Yeah, because it's when I met a rodeo queen, an actual rodeo queen, when I went to the Rowell Ranch Rodeo Grounds during a Castro Valley mixer. You got it out, Mike. I'm proud of y'all. I did get it out. Thank you. Look who else walked in.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. Oh, boy. I have some right now.
Thank you, Brewmaster. I don't think we utilize the
And here's today's podcast picture.
Brewmaster enough. And I don't think we utilize Representative Al Green from Houston, Texas enough. The guy that wants to impeach President Trump. You know why? Do you know why? Because he's really rich.
I'm really rich.
And do you know why? Trump said something like this that scared the crap out of me.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
The podcast picture today is something not having to do with Trump, not having to do with the awful Ventura fires, which I feel so bad. I think the place I used to live in downtown Ventura, just above downtown Ventura, I think it's gone. The fire just swept all through. I don't know. I'm going online and I can't get a map of what's been damaged so far. They don't tell you about that. They just show you the horrific images, the horrific flames. Oh, so, and then someone I used to work with was complaining on Facebook about how there is absolutely no coverage, local coverage of the fires. Like nobody knows, nobody cares. They're just going back to syndication, going back to the pre-programmed music that's programmed by some guy in Atlanta. And they don't care about I've been screaming about this for over a decade now, about how radio is completely not localized. That was the big selling point for radio, live and local. And a company I work for on the weekends, that was trying to be their big selling point. There was a guy that once owned a huge radio conglomerate. He sold it, and then he had all this money. He said, what'll I do with all this money? I'll buy another radio conglomerate. So he went ahead, but he goes, this time, I'm not going to be, I'm going to make sure I stay to the true values of radio, which is be live and local. And he started out with that. And now he's not. He's absolutely not. He fired a local morning show guy near where I work. On the weekends, his stations are all voice tracked. It's voice tracked, being pre-recorded. DJ now doesn't have to sit there and wait for the song to end. He can actually go days ahead and hear that song end, hit a button, start recording, go, hey, that's the new one from Taylor Swift, and now let's go back in time to the 1960s and hear a great classic from the Rolling Stones. Actually, I don't know who would segue from Taylor Swift to the Rolling Stones. That might be an interesting station. Sniff. That sniff was for you. Also, what's for you here is a correction. I have a correction to make. And I actually didn't know this person listened to my podcast. I'm so excited. So here is Mike's correction. The correction section, if you will. Oh, where's that big door sound effect? I want the big door sound effect, because then it sounds like I'm at a correctional facility. Or as Mr. Steve Carell put it in the movie Bewitched, fatality. Oh, maybe that was 40-Year-Old Virgin. Back when he was great. Wasn't he awesome back then? I can't find the big door sound effect. I thought I knew exactly where it was, but since I can't stop and I must keep going with this show. So I got a text from this person that listens to the podcast now and said, Val's is in Hayward. Oh, by the way, she's one of those texters that brevity is the soul of wit. She does not text much. It's maybe just a few words. Whereas I respond with about 80 paragraphs. I'm very verbose. Gee, who would have thunk it? Someone that does a podcast every day and fills up about 20 minutes every day. But yeah, so she writes, Val's is in Hayward. So to all that discussion I was doing on the last show about Val's being in Castro Valley and not sure if it was in Hayward, yes, indeed, it is in Hayward. And she said the last time I ate there, I felt a little closer to death because I was talking about how Val's kills people. With its food, the food is fattening there. It's like an old school diner. And as I was discussing on the Sunday show, the Super Secret Sunday show with the Super Secret sauce, there's a guy, Andrew Zimmern, the bald guy, that's on the, what do you call it, Travel Channel. And he eats like eyeballs. He goes to other countries and eats monkey brains. He does all that. And he went to a place somewhere in Oklahoma and ate a thing called an onion burger, which basically they throw the burger on the grill and then they throw the same exact weight as the burger in onions. Throws that on the grill and then cooks the two together, mashing the two together, and then serves it on a bun and with the cheese and everything like you would a regular hamburger. And he was talking about, oh, this is great. This is so good. And the guy that runs that diner in Oklahoma, of course, he's run that for 80 years. And before that, his granddaddy ran, and then his daddy and his daddy's daddy. It goes way back. And that was my correction. I finally found it. Yay me. Woohoo! Anyway. Café Anyway. It did not look good. The onion burger. That's a little too much onion. I like onions. That's why I don't have a girlfriend. But still, I heard from someone in Ventura that told me, oh, he sent me a picture of the fire. And West Ventura, oh, it looks so scary from the pictures. From last night and the night before. He said, your old place above City Hall might be gone, he wrote me. And then I think our old high school president, I say old, because I'm old. We're relatively the same age. He's young. He looks young. I give him all the compliments in the world. But I feel so bad for him because his house might have burned down. I don't know. I haven't spoken to him. I just saw a quick update on Facebook. He used to... He would call me up when I was working on the radio in Ventura, and I have lost touch with him. But then I saw that's how it works on Facebook. You see these people posting that you go, hey, I really should call that guy up. So anyway, Café Anyway, not the best news in Ventura. So
anyway,
I was brainstorming, as I tend to do on the show, and I was thinking about campaign. You know how politicians will have their campaign music, and they they need the music, like "Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow." I think that was Bill Clinton's. Well, I was thinking this could be Roy Moore's.
You're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine.
Oh my gosh, and there's actually a video to this. I was watching Ringo Starr is like totally flirting with a 16-year-old. Now that doesn't freak you out. I hope that's not the next story that comes out. Someone else getting lowered. Could it be Ringo Starr? Yee. And of course, there's another one. And you may know this one if you grew up in the 80s as I did. Oh, this sounds Beatlesque. I didn't know it started off like that. The guy that sings this ended up producing composing all the music that got popular or that was used in Tim Burton movies.
I love little girls, they make me feel so good. I love
Danny Elfman. Oh my gosh, there's a video here that says Danny Elfman on his embarrassing Oingo Boingo. What? Well, it's what got him noticed. And then Tim Burton, I guess, became a fan, and then the music was made for, was it Edward Scissorhands, Nightmare Before Christmas. So the U.S. bombers are flying over the Korean peninsula. I do not know how I messed that up, but, you know, it's an honest mistake. During military exercises. And they are flying over during their exercises. The person of the year in Time magazine are the Silence Breakers, in honor of the woman who helped launch the Me Too movement. And there's also this news, and somehow I clicked on Skype. And I would give you my Skype address, but instead I'll give you my wonderful website address, Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. That's Mike'sDailyPodcast.com. The name of the show with a .com at the end. Warnings intensify as Trump readies the Jerusalem Declaration. America's friends and foes unleashed fierce criticism Wednesday ahead of Donald Trump's announcement recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital. This is a huge political, you know, I give you a little bit of politics in this show, but I don't understand the foreign policy and everything involved with this. Israel welcoming the news. Palestinian officials declared the Mideast peace process finished. And Turkey announced it would host a meeting of Islamic nations next week to give Muslim country leaders an opportunity to coordinate a response. The Arab League scheduled an emergency meeting on Saturday. The harsh global reaction cast questions about the feasibility of a brewing U.S. peace plan that is expected to be presented by the White House in the near future. Palestinians seek East Jerusalem as the capital of a future independent state and fear that Trump's declaration essentially imposes on them a disastrous solution for one of the core issues in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And U.S. officials said late last night that Trump will recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital despite intense Arab, Muslim, and European opposition to a move that would upend decades of U.S. policy and risk potentially violent protests. He was expected to unveil his plan later today. As you probably, by the time you hear this, he has done. And then, see, a US B-1B bomber flew over the Korean Peninsula. I love how when they talk about the Ventura fires, all they do is say Southern California fires. Well, no, it's not entire Southern California on fire. It's this part north of Southern, basically to the north of Southern California, if that makes sense. North of Los Angeles. They always say northwest of Los Angeles. Well, yes, it is, but it's a whole place called Ventura County. And it's basically south of Santa Barbara. And they always just say Southern California. They lump it in. Oh, gosh, it's just so sad. I was getting texts yesterday and pictures, people seeing, and, well, I wish them the best. Okay, this whole tax thing, now they're in conference. I finally understood a little bit of it, even though I've been working on a financial station and hearing all this and that about the tax plan. And finally, the Economist podcast, they explained it. This is a podcast that originates in England. Was able to, the Economist magazine was able to explain it to me. Basically, the tax plan, the Republicans, they want big tax breaks for people that make a lot of money, corporations that make a lot of money, so that then they can, help make their rich friends even richer. And supposedly it's trickled down, right? The money that the companies save with not paying taxes, they can give to their employees. That's the theory. That's what Reagan believed in. Well, apparently here in California and then in New York and other places where there's huge cities and a lot of taxes, the people that are high earners, they're apparently going to have to pay more in taxes because of this tax plan, the way it's written. So they're conferencing, trying to fix that problem. Hopefully they fix that problem. I'm not a high earner here in California, so I don't know if that means that you should move to California now if you're a low earner because you won't be taxed as much. Is that what that means? I'm not a financial expert to explain all that. But these are things that I wonder about, that I question. I would like to suggest to you one thing as we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcaster Valley. And I forgot to mention that the podcast picture is of Basil the Boxer and I. And this was taken at Carmel a couple weeks ago. I'm hoping to go back in a week from this Saturday, I'm hoping. And there we were on the beach, in the sand, on a dune. And I took a picture, so there you can see Basil the Boxer at mikesdailypodcast.com. There was a wonderful thing on NPR yesterday on All Things Considered, and I criticize NPR a lot. But this is amazing, this series they're doing. I think the guy that started StoryCorps, StoryCorps, it basically was, all these people have stories. Why don't we just create a sound booth for them and let them record it themselves? They've got one at the Jewish Heritage Museum in San Francisco. And you sit down, basically someone will interview you that you know, like your son or your brother, your cousin, your best friend will interview you. And then you give that to NPR and maybe they'll use it on one of their shows. Well, now they've got this thing where they get people that are somehow on opposite ends of a spectrum that each person can learn from each other. They've done things like someone who's a white supremacist talking to someone who's with Black Lives Matter. But this one was a woman who just found out she's pregnant with twins. With triplets. And she's in her early 20s. And she's talking to someone who's like my age, who has raised triplets. And now the triplets are 19, they're going off to college. And so this woman is telling this young woman about what to expect. And it was phenomenal. The older woman, she sounded so tired and worn out. And here she is trying to give some kind of hope and optimism to the young 20-something who's having triplets. And the young triplet mom is trying so much to not freak out because she's hearing all this news about what she's going to be in for. It was fantastic. You should listen to it because I think being an only child, this really grounded me, was the older triplet mom was saying one day two of the triplets were really fussy, and she had a nurse with her, and she had to go into a store, and she asked the nurse, can you stay in the car with the two fussy triplets, and I'm going to take one of them into the store with me? And she said, okay. They go into the store, and the triplet looks up at her mom and goes, Mommy, this must be what an only child feels like. And she said she just was devastated when she heard that. But I thought to myself, well, being an only child, I missed a lot of company. I may have even created company. Not companies, but created a character or two in my mind. Who knows? That would later appear on the podcast, Mike's Daily Podcast. But listen to that. It was yesterday's. It was on the Tuesday edition of All Things Considered. It was a fascinating conversation. So, enjoy the rest of your day. Let's hope that that rains come and put out the fires in Ventura. And it's just, wow. Oh, we got a little beep here. That's interesting. Okay, I gotta go because my phone's beeping. I'll talk to you later. Enjoy your day.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!